Yeah, buddy, we have a solo cooperative video gift giving guide. But maybe you're just getting it for yourself. So I just kind of lumped in co-op in there. This is for you. This is for the people who are buying for that person that plays solo. Maybe you're a couple or a family that plays co-op every once in a while. But this is truly for the people who are just like you and me. I play solo a lot, and this is your gift guide, right? To yourself. Treat yourself. You saw Parks and Rec. You saw Parks and Rec. Treat yourself, okay? This is what we're doing. So these are the games that I do recommend. This is the ones where I tell you what to do with your money, but I'm also going to give you a price range so that you get an idea of like, hey, can I afford this? Is this too much? Do I throw it in my cart during a sale? Because there's always the rat race. But let's just say you bought everybody their gifts. They're good. Or you want to squeeze in a little gift yourself. How about that? So with all the preamble, let's dig into it. Now these games that I'm at the front here are around that $20, $30 range here. So we'll start with this little guy here. This is Heavy Rain. I call this the Zen game of the year. This is one of those games where you're basically taking tiles and you're laying them out and trying to create these little kind of organized situations where you can put your pieces in there. It's a very relaxing game. This is really quick, and it's actually a good gift for other people who may dabble into solo games, and also for people who just like puzzles. So if you were buying this for someone who doesn't play games very often, but they do like the type of puzzle type games, this is one of those games that I highly recommend for a gift, as well as just for you. If you want to relax, have a cup of coffee, rainy day outside, play Gentle Rain. All right, moving on. This one here, Rove, I tell you, Rove by Button Shy. And by the way, Button Shy has some really good sales going on right now. And I was about to go crazy in there. But Rove is one of their best games from the last couple of years. This one right here, you are trying to make formations with cards, and they have different scoring conditions, but you're also using those cards for movement points, and you're trying to move these cards around to kind of hit those movement points. If you watch One Stop Co-op Shop, or I believe it's Totally Tabled, they do a really good job of explaining this game. Definitely want to make sure you check this one out, and that one's like $12, $15. And they also have Aqua Grove, which I'm really interested in. That's another good one. Now, this is a system. This is the beginning of a system. This is 20 strong. And that's right, 20 dice. That's why it's 20 strong. And they have different themes. Right now they have Too Many Bones, Solar Sentinels, which is in this one, and Hoplomachus Victorum. And they even have a Tanglewoods but we're not going to be talking about games we're backing. We're going to have games that we can actually buy and find right now. They have a sale on their website right now for this stuff. So definitely check it out. I can't remember what it was. I just saw it in the email. But definitely give this one a shot. You're taking the 20 dice. You're allocating them to different actions on there. And the game has different thematic touches to different games in their worlds, but also this one is the Solar Sentinels. This is just their basic world. But you have to have this system first in order to use it. And you're using the dice in many different ways to take actions and fight off these enemies. But it's the sheer variety and the game mechanics that that are across the board that make this game just a really enjoyable adventure for 15, 20 minutes. And these games, the first two games I talked about, 15 minutes tops, okay? Speaking of that, this one goes a little bit higher and it might be a little harder to find, and that's Conservus. Conservus is a game where you are trying to fish and fulfill these little, kind of like little missions in a book. I believe there's 10 or more, and you are basically drawing from a bag and fish are going out on your boats. And you're trying to, you're fishing out of your boats on these different cards. And what you're trying to do is get enough to fulfill conditions so you can sell and buy different things. But at the same time, if you take too many fish out of the water or out of the bag, whatnot, there will be less to reproduce between rounds. And that's kind of how the game works. It's a really smart little game. The one thing I do worry about, a lot of these they're very random. These are very, very random games. At least Rove makes you feel smart about it. That one is a little bit more different. This one here, if you're taking things out of the bag, you don't necessarily know what's going to come out because you're pulling things out of a bag. They come out randomly, but you're also going to have, you don't necessarily know what to do with the round sometimes. This one here, though, I still recommend. It's another Scott Alms game. So if you like Scott Alms, this is one of the highest recommendations of the year. Speaking of, this one here, you can throw it in your cart. Just throw it in your cart, throw it in your backpack. This is one of the best games I played this year. Good old Confusing Lands. It's a quick game where you're taking cards and you're placing them on top of each other. If you play like not Circle of Wagons, but Honshu, those types of games where you're putting cards on top of each other to fulfill scoring conditions. Well, these cards have different land types on the front, but then on the back they have scoring conditions. And the puzzle is do you use a card for a scoring condition, or do you use it for what resources are on it? Because at the end of the game, you're going to get negative points for how many of the ones you have facing. So you got to kind of outscore yourself a little bit in this game. It can be played 2-player, but for solo, this is, yes, buy this, okay? Buy that game, okay? Dungeon Legends. I did a video for this right before Essen and nobody cared about it. It's a really good game, okay? Dungeon Legends is actually from the Chronicles of Avil universe, which is like a kid's family game that like slowly but surely it becomes like this more complicated dice game, action game that has like adventure in it, and it's just baked into more lore. I ended up starting to buy it. I'm started buying more and more of it. And I was like, man, dear Lord, they really have gone in on this. I didn't know they were going to go this deep with it, but they even went further, and now they have a small campaign of a game, and it's called Dungeon Legends. In this game, it's sort of a deck building type game where you are playing in these 4 adventurers that are going across this really nice kind of laid out play mat. Please watch my video on it. It's really nice, and you are trying to basically do certain missions while these monsters and events are coming across the board, eventually trying to storm the castle. So you want to stop them from doing that. It's up to you to play these different types of cards to move around and interact with different things. For the first one, there's like a fire going on, so you have to take different things of buckets and transfer them to each other to pour over the bucket. But meanwhile, there's monsters and fire monsters trying to come across the way too, so you have to attack them before they hit you back. It's a really easy game to get into rules-wise, but the thematic touches to the gameplay with the same mat, with cool components that they add in there, and just really smart character building, so you feel really smart. This is actually a game that I would highly recommend if you are playing with family. So if you want to play with your kids, or you and a couple, this is one of the higher recommended games from this year that I truly I think is really cool. And you get your own little deck box. It's got like a nice little campaign touch to it. It's only 5 scenarios. It's playable enough. So give that one a go, Dungeon Legends. Now we're starting to get up in a little bit of the price, but this is actually $50. I think this one's $40-$45. Imperial Horizons is a lot of game in a box, okay? I think there's 12 factions in Horizons, and Horizons is basically, this is it's a thematic deck game. So in each one of these decks in this game are built around themes. So it could be Martians, it could be mythical, it could be Samoans, it could be regular, just any culture. There's different cultures, and they all have a thematic deck. And you're facing off against each other, going through time. You're trying to progress yourselves, and as you progress your society or whatnot, you are going to kind of hit this moment where you'll turn from playing cards and stopping unrest to flipping it over to where you're in this kind of like evolved state. So you kind of start out as this untamed. I'm trying to think of the words because I'm just shooting it from the hip, y'all. This one here is really, really cool. You can even have it where you want unrest. You can have it when you're trying to make a ritual. It just depends on who you are. There's cultists in the game. They want a ritual. You are literally taking a deck that makes you do this ritual. You have to make it happen and line it up. You are trying to go to Shangri-La. There's different decks with different themes. There's very easy ones. There's harder ones. And the solo element here, they actually have a bot that you can practice against. And then you also have you have ones where you just have a thematic deck that actually plays out solo. This is a really tough game to get into. It's a little bit heavier on the heavier side, so don't just buy it and be like, oh, that sounds really cool. I would suggest watching a couple playthroughs of this game, but I have reviewed several of them on the channel, so you get an idea of what's going on with them, and hopefully this works for you. This is a great game. This is one of the best card games. Matter of fact, these are some very, very, very good games. Now let me go ahead and drag over these bigger ones. Our next set of ones. These are some big ones, and they're not new. Okay, so these are your $60 to $80 range ones here, from what I know. Okay, so one of the ones that here is Empires of the North. So if I said, hey, you don't know if you want Imperium Horizons because Imperium Horizons is more just so heavy. Well, this one is not as heavy. So if Imperial Settlers used to be this game where you would take cards and resources from different societies. Once again, it could be barbarians, Vikings, whatever, and they would just have one side and the other side, and you just kind of play cards to it. This one, You will have a tableau of a whole bunch of cards, and they are all thematic to each one of the types of factions in the game. And what I like about this one is that it doesn't have a general deck that you're mixing with it. It is your deck of your special cards that defines who you are, and you're trying to find different ways to score points to build up your tableau so that you can kind of create an engine that feels good. But then you also have a board where you go out to sea, and you can go out to sea and kind of like conquer things, or you can keep them. So you can conquer things, or you can just get resources. And then there's like another little smart wheel on the side there that helps with different actions, so it kind of extends the rounds a little bit for you. But I really highly recommend this card game. This is in my top 50. I believe it was number 20. It's that good. If you like slick card games, this game is a gift that keeps on giving. There's 6 factions, I believe, in the base, and then they have a whole bunch of factions you can buy. They come with solo scenarios. Make sure you find the ones that have scenarios available. Portal always has games sales on their site. Definitely check this out around now, and this may actually be on a sale situation every once in a while. This game, often forgot about. This is damn near perfect for me. It is one of the best card games out there, no question. I know nobody really talks about it because it's old at this point in a sense, but definitely give this one a shot. Yeah, I need to play this again. It's been a while. All right, Empires of the North. Speaking of, I haven't played this in a while. It has been years since I have played Nemo's War, but I was just at PAX U and it reminded me just how much I love this game. I was at Tabletop Tycoon and I was like, man, this game, I feel so safe recommending this to everyone. This introduced me to Ian O'Toole. This introduced me to a lot of great games. But this one here, Nemo's War, very thematic. This is one of the first games I think I ever backed on crowdfunding, by the way. This game has kept printing for years and years and years. So, Captain Nemo, you are in charge of this ship. You are basically going around a map. You're trying to find different things and find different ways to score a crap ton of points. But meanwhile, you are risking things along the way. People are trying to take you out, but you're also trying to take them out. You're also risking your crew, so you have to risk your crew a little bit to do some of these things. But you're on an adventure. I can't express how awesome this game is. The board is absolutely beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's Ian O'Toole, one of his best, still his best to this day. I'm just looking at this and marvel because it's really cool. You get to upgrade your ship. You get to fight people off. Sometimes you're just running for your life. You can play this co-op. I've actually never have, and I don't ever want to, but I'm sure you could play it, and it may be fun. But this game is one of those awesome solo type puzzles that you really want to get into. It's a thematic adventure, and I find that most people don't talk about this game, but when they do and they play it, they absolutely enjoy it. High recommendation, Nemo's War. Wow, what a game, what a game, what a game. Oh, it's time, okay? It's time. It's time. Don't buy the $30 Walmart version. Buy this. It's time for Spirit Island. It is. It's $60. There's a reason why the price never goes down. There's a reason why. Don't chase for all the promos. Don't do that. Don't go buy everything in this game. Don't worry. You'll do it eventually. You'll do it eventually, okay? And you'll just be buying these things and not even playing all the ones you buy. So basically, oh yeah, I forgot I got this thing here. But basically, you are a bunch of spirits fighting them back against the invaders, and you have your Duhani people too that are trying to help you. You are getting cards that you're going to play for their actions slow or fast, and you're trying to take out these enemies who are basically trying to colonize the island. You are the spirits that are fighting off. The whole idea is you're going to get better at it. You're going to gain more power, and it's up to you to kind of interact with your different types. And I mean, there are so many different types of spirits, and you can keep going deeper with this. What happens with this game is that you're going to get addicted to the types of characters. Then they added gameplay elements with the branching claw that will actually make it a little bit heavier, but you'll kind of have the training wheels in that. Then you have your adversaries, so you have more scenario type cards to play around with. There's quite a bit of content that can be unlocked from this one, and this is why this game is essentially one of the best co-ops, if not the best co-op there is, period. There is a learning curve to each one of them. That gives you kind of a training wheels for it and how deep you want to go. And I think that's the reason why this game is overall being seen as sought after, because you have everybody can play the same game and know what they're doing. If you have a lower level and a higher difficulty level player, or a person that just wants to go to the max and they already know how to play this game, all of us can be at the same table. Does have a little bit of a quarterbacking problem, but even if you play solo, you're good to go. If you play two-player, you're good to go. It's when it gets beyond that, I think quarterbacking is an issue in this game, just because some people are in the know and some people aren't in the know on how to play it. That happens. A little bit too much training wheels. So, Fate Forge. Fate Forge is one of the best games of the year, no question. This will be in my top 10 this year. You know, when you look at big box games, sometimes they just have too much. You got excited about it, then you see the box show up and you're like, man, damn, this is way too much. This is actually the counter to that. This has everything you need without going overboard. This game is 1 to 4. I've played it by myself. I played it solo. Played it with my son for a while and just got through the campaign. The campaign is a nice size without being like, hey, this is a 40-hour campaign. No, it's not that. You're gonna have 1 to 4 characters. Each character has these different types of action cards, and then you're gonna roll the dice and put the actions on there that kind of qualify. It's a very simple system to understand, and the way you're interacting with this board is you're gonna have different tile setups. You'll have an app that tells you how this is set up. It'll tell you how the enemies interact. The setup for it is very quick. You don't have 50 minis to look through. You got a whole bunch of wood pieces. You put them down on there for the enemy. The only minis that are in this game are you. Okay, that's it. So you cool minis just for you, and everything else is just a wood circle. So you're getting through the stuff very quickly. It tells you how the enemies move. 1, 2 attacks that person in that square. You, same thing. You place it on here. You move and you attack in the next square. You shoot from this far. All this stuff is easy, and as you develop, you're just getting access to more cards and different weapons that allow you to do different things, and everybody has their own deck for that as well. So the level up system is really easy to get into. Even when you go to towns, there's side missions that you can go to that make life very just interesting and easy. The lore is good, although there's a lot of weird names in there. Like, you're going to be reading this like Bukalaka Wishi, like, I mean, just weird weird names, fantasy names in there. But typically, overall, I enjoyed this game. I would say you probably want to play 4 or 5 sessions like right away. Take your time on this one. Absolutely enjoyable. It has 3 acts in the campaign, and if you do get the expansion, it has another character. I would just say wait. Do not buy everything, but definitely give this one a go. This is Fate Forge. Boom, this is it. I mean, stay tuned for Solo Co-op Top 10, and it probably is on my top 10 overall, so just really watch it, okay? For this year, for 2024. Let's not get too crazy. Okay. Last but not least, Tidal Blades, Rise of the Unfolds. Tidal Blades 2 is what I call it. This is peak, top tier, cooperative, okay, game. This is top tier, okay? I think you can just play with just one guy, but I play 2 players, okay? This is top tier stuff, not only in its beauty, but also in its lore. Tidal Blades tells a story that I didn't even think existed from Tidal Blades. Like, I didn't get it, and then I was like, this too tells a story. It makes me invested in something that I didn't think I'd be invested in. So it's one of those. It's actually written well enough, and you're like, oh, okay, I care about these characters. You care about your development. Well, I will tell you this, it's an absolutely beautiful game on the eyes. It's got book layout. It's got like a book board. So instead of like having, a whole bunch of tiles to pull out, you got books. You put the books and kind of layer them and whatever. And this one here, the claim to fame, what it is, it's got 2 things. I love the little shell system for blocking and developing stuff. That's a cool thing. But the big thing is this card system. So you have this like a 3x3 grid, and you're going to be placing cards on there and activating the rows of the columns to do your different actions. And there's so many ways that this plays out. It makes you feel very smart. Even how you get wounds, how you develop your character, the scars that are left from when they don't, when they're hurt and whatnot. I cannot express enough. This is going to cost probably like $120, $125. If you're looking for it, by the way, I actually had to ask the publisher. It's on the All Play website. That's where it can be found. So definitely give this one a look. I think there's a couple people who have gameplay. Don't look at my live play from a while back. I was tired. I think I've missed several things. It was absolutely hilarious. But I believe Mike from One Stop Co-op Shop got a copy early, and he can show you how to play it. Take a look at this game. This is my highest recommendation outside of Fate Forge, like my highest recommendation. If I said, hey, let's go for one in each one of these, I'm gonna say, let's do Tidal Blades. This is my big money. Okay, I think I'm gonna tell you to get Spirit Island just because I think cooperative games. This game just has a lot of range, and then I'm gonna tell you 100 million%, 1,000,000%, you have got to get Confusing Lands because you need a game that you have a cool little puzzle game that you can take with you anywhere. And then if somebody were to come up to you and say, hey sir, what is that game? Do you play board games? You can say, hey, you know what? Why don't you sit down and play a game of Confusing Lands with me? Because this plays 2 players. It plays in like 10 minutes. It's super fast. Score, tally up, done. So these are my 3 highest recommendations. A little bit of range. This year, 2016. Go for it. Have some range in your collection. All right. So with that, I'm going to tell you, thank you so much for watching my content and our content throughout the years. We have a campaign going on right now for our promos. It is $35. There's a whole bunch of promos. I'm in some of them. So if you want to look at me, that's awesome. My cards actually are good and they're relevant. So I love that when you do promos, not just some sidebar promos. All right. Keeping you too long. Happy holidays. You take care. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on MVM. I can't wait to share some of the new stuff we got going on for next year. But until then, you have a happy holidays.